Bean, we're live. And you're in the background. Huh? Not in the background. You're just over there. Hi, friends. Am I live? Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
I am. I'll wait a little bit till more people are on. You can't make noises. In front of the fire. Shall we do a filter? There we go. Filter or no filter?
No filter.
Oh. What about this one? Hi, friends. So I'm just gonna wait a little while till we get a few more people up. How you guys doing? There we go. Now I look a little bit more human. So, things have been kind of chaotic lately in South Africa. We've had protests and riots and looting, and it's been quite chaotic. And I would think that a pandemic would keep people away from going to all these places, but it has not. And unfortunately, we have known a few people that have passed away from COVID. So it's a bit chaotic at the moment, but it isn't all bad because there are so many relief funds and people donating their time and their resources to try and help all the people that have been affected by this. We've had family in KZN that were relatively close, or they were close, I'm not sure, to all the chaos that was going on in 𝚆𝚅𝚊𝚝 and all those other places, but they're all fine. And like I said, a lot of people have come together to help and aid and give food because the rioters, protesters, whatever you want to call them, stopped the delivery trucks from going out and delivering food. So there was no food, and then the people that are volunteering to help, they've been donating food and getting resources together and everything. And despite all the chaos, there's been a lot of good that's come out of it. And I have found some resources, and I'll put it in the link and in the description and in all the other places, so you can go check it out. And if you feel the need to donate, you're more than welcome to donate. But in light of all of that, I decided to read a book by a South African author. The author that I forgot last week, Nicola, will be reading the first chapter of her book. I finished it last week sometime. I think that Sunday I finished it. And it was a really good book, and I really can't wait to see if Nicola's going to carry on the story. The characters are really amazing. I'm not going to say who my favorite characters are because I want them to be safe, and protected from all kinds of danger. So I'm not going to say who my favorite characters are. But it was a really good book. It's set in South Africa, in Rosebank, Johannesburg, in a dystopian future kind of thing where people sell magic, and it's also published by a local publishing agency, Cerebral Publishing. And I thought that with everything going on, I would love to support some South African writers. Yes. Okay. So let us get to the page. So I showed you the cover last week. Here's the cover. It's a very pretty cover. Ta-da! So it's by Nicola M. Millen, The Black Cube. And we'll start with the prelude. The problem is, and we discussed this last week, that there is cursing. And from last week I told you that I don't really curse or cuss or swear. The only time I really do is when I'm driving. That's what you would say, right? That's the only time I swear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is when I'm driving, and even then it's like mother ducker, box, toss. I'm kind of like a Teletubby in that way. Except when no, never mind. I was gonna say, even when I listen to rap songs, I don't swear. I like bleep it out. I don't know whose ears I'm going to offend. Perhaps my ancestors. Who knows? And I don't even know why I do it. But anyway, okay, so The Black Cube by N.M. Millen. Prelude. Prelude? Prelude. Dane had failed to take several things into consideration. The first was the possibility of a reaction between the water and the magic's current in the cooling pool. The second was the reaction between his blood and the cube. The most drastic was the power surging and then shorting out completely. And then it shorting out completely. What Dane did expect was some form of backlash from the act of compression. So, when 𝚁𝚎 found him later, he had prepared a to-do list for her and attached it to his work apron. The first instruction was to not touch the black cube in his hand. The second instruction was to not call an ambulance. Much of this list was, in fact, a series of prohibitions rather than effective solutions to the floating black body surrounded by a field of tangible energy in a pool of boiling water. 𝚁𝚎, normally an excellent problem solver, was somewhat lost and peeved and fearful, which was the position 𝚁𝚎 found herself in when the first flicker of electricity leaked through the fluorescent lights, and then a splash of water announced the awakening of the floundering body in the cooling pool. Well, that was a fucking disaster, Dane sputtered as he emerged from the water, his eyes unfocused and darting around, found the workbench through the haze of his failing vision. He groped for his glasses, round and reflective, were wetly perched on his long nose. You are a moron. Experiments are not an ideal activity to be conducted in warehouses that are situated in abandoned areas and hold all of our current stock, 𝚁𝚎 hissed from the corner, her lithe white body emerging from the stupor. I have to say, I don't like the word lithe. I don't know why. I use it when I write as well to describe someone that's like very tall and thin and pretty. But I don't know what it is about that word. It just makes me very... I don't know. Says the peddler of illicit materials that has recently cleared out my entire stock of love muffins and flight spells. A belligerent response came as the spellsmith gingerly began to pry the cube out of his palm. The skin of his palm had fused to the edges of the cube, and the soft pink flesh had bubbled around it. I cannot support decisions based on needless attempts to decimate our business and your body parts. In fact, I have decided I veto all refuses to call an ambulance. I never knew you cared. The skin around the cube finally released the black object. After being sliced away from the smooth sides with a sharp knife, with a hiss of pain running between his teeth, Dane pulled the cube loose from his melted flesh, like plaster being released from a wound. The wound began to leak plasma as soon as the small object had been removed from the holding space in his palm. The matte finish of the blackness deadened the light from above the workbench. Is that even a financially viable product? The woman replied, gazing at the small object with suspicion. No, but it is interesting, the spellsmith replied, his palm still weeping with translucent liquid as he laid the inch-by-inch object on the scale. So what I really liked about that book is that Nicola sorry, now I'm questioning if I got her name wrong again. Oh no, I didn't. I hope I didn't. I don't think I did. Yeah, it's Nicola, sorry. It's Nicola. Her name is Nicola. And what I really liked is that she made spells kind of like a blacksmith, forging it and having to make them into like weapons and stuff. And I thought that was a very interesting concept. Sorry, if you can hear running around, it's my cat that has decided now is a good time to have cat zoomies. And she had a really interesting storyline of who can have magic and who can't have magic. So those with African blood, so the Zulus, the Xhosas, the Ndebele, those tribes, they have magic in their blood, and their descendants can carry the magic, and they talk to their ancestors and stuff. And it was very, very interesting. It's a very interesting concept. And I enjoyed it. It was a very quick read. I gave it 4 stars. I don't give 5 stars typically. A book has to like really ruin my life in a good way for it to get 5 stars. But 4 stars is generally a very, very good read. A read that I enjoyed and something that I would recommend to others reading. This was very short, very sweet. It's very cold and I'm very tired. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next Sunday. I hope you stay safe, wear a mask, take care of yourselves, love each other, be kind, and thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.